things, but you know, we need to start thinking about these kind of things and how do we safeguard against this instead of
active.
resetting the balance.
Yeah, we had a good time. This was Madeline's idea. Was she took the 3 living grandmothers, and they were
Seems like, you know, we don't necessarily know if that's
flower grandmas.
military, obviously, least, but
It's a beautiful place.
It was. Yeah, it was all. I've never done the all-inclusive thing before. But that's my brother and his wife. That was the.
So we don't even know if that was
setting for it.
they really leaked
Yeah,
this,
that's.
or they
It was
really
nice. It was a very nice time.
But you know,
and we'll never know.
China couldn't sustain itself the way it was going to.
Right. So I mean, it's like, and we'll never know because they'll never let anyone come and investigate. They'll never
Yeah, we had a good
let
time.
anyone hold them up to.
She's
So
all
remind me,
married.
where do they live?
She's all
Where do they
married to.
live?
They're living in
It's
Chattanooga.
overbuilt.
Yeah.
Does she love it?
She loves
Top
Chattanooga.
heavy.
She has. He went to UTC.
I know
And
this,
so
but
when,
China, you cannot
when she was at KSU, you know, they were an hour away from each other. But
meaning that the state owns
when KSU,
every
when
house.
COVID hit and when
Every
KSU went to all remote,
you can get
he was up
a
at
lease
UTC and
for
he had 3
$99.
roommates. They all went home.
But that's it.
He stayed there, so
They also
Full place.
they had a full place, and
China's
she was like,
stock market.
you know, 'cause we had downsized. She was like,
That's
going out
also
there, and we were like,
owned by the state.
totally fine. We could all stay spaced
No
out.
corporation.
Yeah.
She's not alone, and they've been together for a long time. And so they,
It seems like a corporate.
but they have absolutely loved it up there. They're trying to find a house, which you know what that's
Oh,
is
God, right.
darn near impossible. Now that the rates are,
Huh?
well, it's neat is the guy
So
that they're renting from.
like a beehive.
It's a
So the
it's a
state is
duplex. He's a real estate agent. He's never rented out the other
people
side
that
of
live
it.
there are just doing nothing but just.
And he's told them, he goes, look, here's my deal with the people that rent from me. When you know when you're ready
The problem is
to
like, who would,
buy a house, if you use me as your realtor.
he or she that is the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to worry about breaking a lease or doing all that stuff, and they pay their bills and they're no trouble. So it's been really good. You know, they've been looking to buy for 6 months. And like you said, it's a futile effort. And but you know, in the midst of all getting, you know, their lease would have been up like at the end of February while they were trying to plan a wedding at the beginning of April. You know, Eric, their bodies, their landlord, he's just like,
But what you said though,
we're just gonna
you know,
renew, we're gonna keep on
what from the
going.
government.
Because again, he's been working with them, showing
It's always
houses
the
and
case.
doing all this.
Even in America,
There's no pressure to get out at the end of a lease or to move anywhere. It's really, it's a pretty smart setup.
No,
But it's also,
I
you know,
think,
very
to be honest with you,
beneficial.
I think really controls this country. It's
I wonder,
career
how's prices in Chattanooga
politicians,
compared to
She, I told her,
people
she
who
was
are
looking
been
at
in
older
office.
houses
You
and
know, for even
said,
for
you know,
the
everything
I
you
mean,
got,
it doesn't matter
concern
They work
yourself.
together.
what party,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
party
she's
you're in.
very
I mean, they realize that the longer they're there,
I said,
the
obviously,
more
you
they
gotta like the
control.
location. It doesn't matter
And
what,
so,
if you don't like the location where you are, you're not.
And they feed each other.
yeah, absolutely. You know, like
I said, but.
I want
said,
tax stay here because I can get stuff done.
You know, you're
Even though
talking
he's
about
on
saving
cross
some
party,
money.
I get things going. Yeah,
About
he
buying an
goes
older house,
some
you gotta remember,
new
roof,
whether it be right, left.
water
Streets
heaters,
come
you know,
in,
there's,
directs all
there's,
projects.
HVAC, you know, those things, you take
Unless
HVAC
it
in a
feeds their
roof,
party, and then they're like, well,
Yeah,
I
that's
got
gonna be
my control then anyway, so we get, it's a win-win
you know,
now.
for
But
a
if it's
young couple
another
starting out,
potential
you
Republican,
may wanna spend a little bit
or
more
vice
money
versa, another
to be in a
Democrat,
house
new
to me that has.
what the old school.
It's massive behavior.
A
Yeah,
newer
so,
house, you know, you're not fighting with people, you're locked in, you
Maybe
kind of pick some of the things you like, and you have a little bit of
50,
leeway with it.
Congress
And the subdivision
persons,
they were looking
and maybe probably 10 or 15 senators spending.
you know, she was like, yes, I kind of
I
like
just
this.
want
And
to get my
they'll do
phone in
this.
case
That's
they call
probably
Gary
a lot of
Fox.
I was like, you need to get in on that because your backyard's never gonna change. And
that
the other side, they were like $1 million homes. So from an investment standpoint, yeah,
The U.S. economy absolutely is
But when you do wanna do something, as an investment, you're gonna get your best return on this. So she looks, and they're kinda hemming and hawing with it. It was a very good subject, they didn't even come out with prices, they came out with prices, and she was
It's
like,
kinda like, ha, you hate
"We're not gonna
that.
spend this much," and I'm like,
Cannot survive
I mean,
without
if you want a
it. So
house,
you want
that's
to
what's
like
gonna
even big
cost.
one, how about that?
So then
But look at
like,
the war going on now.
a month or so later, she goes, Dad, she goes, they went up $50,000 on the price of that house, on those houses, on that style of house.
In the whole world, so make
She goes,
one.
that's ridiculous. I'm gonna wait for the
You
prices to
really-
come
really
back.
blow your
Let me
mind?
tell you something.
Might not
They,
have.
So,
they
if
didn't
you
go
look
up
at-
$50,000 on those
Look
houses
at
because
London.
people weren't running over there to buy them
From
at what they
1700
originally were.
Exactly.
17,
It's just,
okay?
I don't look
And you
like
fast
the
forward 100
prices
years,
come down again.
1800 to
I'll
1800.
tell you, one of the things
Lot of stuff, I
I
mean,
kept an eye on this,
that
but
100 year
progress
span,
on
nothing really
these companies,
changed.
these,
Like,
there's these
there was probably some
corporations that are
advancements here and there, but medicine was still pretty
Because they're calling me
rudimentary.
constantly for mine.
Physician and doctors still pretty rudimentary. People are still horse-drawn horses and carriages. You don't really have these real
Really?
advances in structure and like that. Man,
you could buy
look
people
from
What they're doing is they're taking away the ability for people to buy homes.
to 2000.
Basically, the dream of owning a home is being
And
taken
break
away
that
from
in further.
people
Look at
because
what all changed from
these corporations are
1980
buying up all the houses.
to 2000.
Like in Nashville, Progress owns 10% of
I mean, we literally
I'm gonna say, they own,
advanced.
I wanna say 30% of the housing inventory.
And
My argument is,
Yeah.
hey, we're paying above market, we're putting.
What y'all doing, Slick?
talking some deep stuff right now.
Perspective.
What's going on, Slick?
Ah, man. But I'm actually
You know,
proposing
orientation,
something
you know why, man?
that we put in place here that isn't.
I'm good.
Look at all these compliments. Just, did I see you? Looks like you lost weight.
Being the slave.
Looking
Right.
good.
Straight
I see-
off the
I see-
baseball field.
I see Calvin's
And
like,
it's
hey,
not like
what's up,
these
Tex?
houses are gonna, you're not.
We're
it's like if you rent them for
four
1,000,
innings
it'd be,
in, and I was
1,500
like, I
if
gotta
it was
go.
a-
Right.
They're charging you what?
I know.
So-
7:45. Motion to approve. Second.
So moved.
Hey, look, man. I sat my starters and I put in another guy to pitch and it wasn't working.
Oh,
real
you had a
well.
game?
Oh yeah, we're in the middle of it. TJ's like, okay, great.
I got it.
Yeah, so. Do important things here.
I don't want to get my phone
River.
to stay because Carrie and Gary both
He got in,
available.
yeah.
Jude Hamilton,
Their
Harris Preston,
phone,
Ben Rose, West Red,
if we needed them.
Jamison, DeMarco,
Well,
Burton,
if-
Langens.
It's
Matt
Carson.
accused him
They
of
misspelled
we're gonna
that.
have 4 votes. So it's only gonna leave, there was
I think
only
it's
3.
Lannon's. Lannon's.
And I was like, I guess
I think the GH is
Jace
not
does, and I was
Lannon's.
literally coming up the stairs and I heard
Carson
the
Lannon's.
basement door open. And it was Jace.
Where is L. Broughton Key?
I got you.
Right.
I was like, good deal. I was like, "It's okay, I'll come to the
Yeah, he goes by Will, but that's
See, that's what I'm.
What is that, like a roster?
I'm doing a baseball game tomorrow. I'm doing a little league game on the radio tomorrow. Oh, is that Tyler Hickman, Caden McCollum, Brooks Fulton, Xander Giannis,
that's perfect.
Joel Wrench,
Yep.
Raiden Barnes, Easton Stevens, Caden Bagley, Tate McGill, Broughton Morris.
That's
You
right.
don't want us to give their butchers names?
That's all I'm worried about is not butchering kids' names.
We got,
Well, then the next thing
Aaron.
that they
Sunday,
want
Monday,
you to
Tuesday.
do on the radio.
That thing about,
Never been there.
I know.
This is way.
Well, I told them, we're gonna do a moment of silence.
And if I'm gonna go that far, I need to go to the beach.
I think I might go up for you next year. Catherine, age 11.
Yeah.
Those moms ain't for it. So they've been doing videos and stuff.
Come on.
It's being
They're like, come on, you little bitch.
That's the reason I wanted to
it's
know.
being read.
About to take you deep.
It's just being read. So it'll
Like
you
you're
read it
reading
or
it?
I'll read it. They asked for you. I was like, I don't care. I'll do it. I mean,
But see, with me being on the radio, it's either gonna be on the radio or it's gonna be through the PA system. Does that make sense?
Hey Charlie, we saved your seat up here up front.
It'd make more sense for me to have a field mic and have somebody else reading.
okay. Unless they're just wanting it on the radio.
I don't, you guys tell me what you want, we'll make it happen. We got about 3 minutes.
I don't know what all this is. I know
Dougie Fresh,
This
you're on
kid
that.
really wants to be like, I'm Big Bob, look at things.
pay stubs. I'm getting paid to do this.
Decided to join?
You sir? I'm the Phillies, man. I came straight from third base. Third
About
base.
17.
And then TJ goes, you're really putting these kids in? I go, yeah, man. You got it, knock it out.
I mean, what are you playing for now anyway? You didn't make the game.
Exactly.
But I'm not surprised though.
I'm 11 years old. shaving, chest
So
hair.
here my daughter
What
is.
they do?
She went to several weeks ago. She went
Days where they win?
to
We were,
somewhere else. His mom and dad
but
were.
TJ is known to let it go.
German something.
So, I already said, that I've already motioned to approve as the, what do they call it? Oh, the consent agenda?
Oh, consent agenda, you wanna get them all done one time?
Items 3 through 16.
And never had a meeting.
Call it a global motion to approve. All
But they
items
would say we're.
Nah, it's all good. I got Game Changer right here, and I got like a little shock collar buzzer on TJ. I can go, "Dude."
Well, did you guys do game changer for the Little League?
Oh, all of them. That's a big thing for Charles Wilson.
Blue back wad, he's got his pocket there. I know who's, well, I'm pickpocketing.
I did not know that. So I called Dr. Walker.
You guys took the camera on your Oh, well, I'll leave the phone behind. It's info you got in there. I might not see that. But I might find it.
You don't miss nothing.
Oh shoot, what am I doing?
Oh, you kidding me? We see Cat. I saw flashes of some blue backs.
I'm tired.
What inning are you in?
Bottom of the fourth.
We've let them tied up. It's 5-3 when I left.
Come on, coach. Get there and crack the whip. Make them go. Game, but lose like, I don't know, boys.
It's bottom of the fourth. We can get it.
Please make sure your microphones are turned on as we are about to start in about 25 seconds. Thank you.
What, dingers?
I did not reload with potato chips, Julia. So, sorry.
Sounds like a virus behind
And away we go. Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. If you will please stand for our invocation and pledge.
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, once again we assemble ourselves in the chambers of city government to do the business of the city. But before we go any further, we want to thank you for another day of grace and mercy and health and strength. We ask you for your guidance and your direction as we do the business of the city. And we'll be so grateful as we always are. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Drake, the roll, please.
Carrie Hodge, Ward 1. Here. Jay Stepp, Ward 2.
Here.
Carrie Roth, Ward 3. Calvin Cooley, Ward 4.
Here.
Gary Fox, Ward 5. Taff Wren, Ward 6.
Present.
Thank you very much, Julia. The first order of business is the approval of our council meeting minutes, he said, from April 7th. And council, you've had these well in advance and had an opportunity to review them. Now would be the time to make any edits to those minutes. If none are to be had, a motion would be in order.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Mr. Menino, if you will get us started off with Building Safety Month.
Yes, as you're aware, it is Building Safety Month, and International Code Council does this every year. The last couple of years with COVID, we haven't recognized Building Safety Month, and on behalf of the city building department, Charlie Waits, our building official here, is here, and also on behalf of the fire department, Fire Marshal Mark Hathaway is here representing Building Safety Month.
Thank you. I will read a portion of this proclamation, then I'll be honored to present these to those two fine gentlemen. I will not read the whole thing because, you know, a lot of it's, well, anyway, let me just read it. The city of Cartersville, Georgia is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play. Our confidence is in the resilience of these buildings is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry. And these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit, local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts that create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in these buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And like I said, it is an honor to present these on behalf of the city to Charlie and Mark. If you'll please step forward.
Mayor, as you make your way back up, these guys and others in our departments do a great job in making sure that our buildings are built properly and inspect those. I do appreciate you guys honoring them.
Well deserved. Freddie, if you will start us off with the next item, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. We're pleased to be able to recognize our Downtown Development Director, Lily Reed. She's received the highest credential available through the Main Street America Institute. It's the highest in her field. Lily's only one of 2 managers in the state of Georgia to attain this credentials. So we're very pleased for that. She went through multiple hours of work and time to do this. She did online and in-person courses. She did a lot of different things to get this, and we just wanted to make sure we acknowledge her and very much appreciate her hard work. So.
Thank you, and I got a plaque for this. I'll make sure to hang it in my office. Actually, I think I'll give it to you instead. How about that?
Great.
Congratulations, Mike.
Yes, congratulations.
I do just want to say, for y'all's benefit, the city's always been very supportive of professional development, and I can draw a very straight line from training that I received at the national level in 2018 to work I implemented in downtown that was then recognized by the state in 2020 that led to our GEMS designation in 2021. So I really do want to just emphasize that the investment that y'all make in your professional leaders, I think does pay dividends. So thank you all for allowing me to pursue this.
Thank you for taking the time, Lily. I do appreciate you taking the extra effort to do that training. I know it goes a long way and helps our entire city, so thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Mr. Porta, keep the ball rolling.
Yes, Mayor, this is second reading of the canvassers, solicitors, peddlers. There was no changes since the first reading and it's recommended for your approval.
Any discussion or questions on the second reading of this ordinance?
No.
If not, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve?
Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Next item.
Next item basically adds the canvasser's fee to that, and this is second reading with no changes since first reading.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? If there are none, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Menino, ZMA 2201.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a proposed map amendment. We do this annually. We take the previous year's annexations and zonings. Additionally, we add some corrections to the map that were based on the GIS maps where they don't necessarily always line up with property lines and so forth. And every year we try to make corrections with that. These changes have been properly advertised. Planning Commission did recommend the approval to the zoning map.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Randy on this item? Thank you, sir. I'll now open up a public hearing relative to ZMA 2201 and ask anybody who wishes to step forward to speak for or against to do so at this time. And seeing none, I will close the public hearing for ZMA 2201. Again, this is a first reading. We will take this up for final consideration at our next meeting, which will be May the 5th. Thank you. Dan, you got the next item.
Yes, Mayor, this is the Good Neighbor Homeless Shelter Grant application. We are the conduit for them, and they are asking to use us to apply for a grant through DCA.
Thank you. We do this annually. We applaud the work that they do in serving that sector of our community, and I'll ask for any questions, and if not, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Morgan, you're up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a request to take surplus items and sell them on the GovDeals website. We're asking your permission to move forward with this list.
Thank you. I'll only add, I sure do miss our old friend Lindsey McDaniel. Every time we'd have surplus vehicles, he'd start asking about them like he wanted to buy one of them.
Thought about that.
Not that you have to do that, Calvin. We're good without it. The chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please.
Yes, sir. This is the purchase agreement that you all authorize us to move forward to negotiate with McWhorter Capital Group. This agreement is for the 178 West Main Street property. I do believe Mr. Archer will have anything in recommendations if we do choose to move forward.
The purchaser has requested an amendment. The request for bid package said, had a provision in it that there would only be retail establishments on the ground floor. They would like to have that amended in the contract to allow for professional offices. And so your motion should include Roman numeral number 16, paragraph B, section 2, should read at the end of that sentence where it says it should include ground floor retail. Added to that should be and/or professional offices. And we can just write that in on the contract. Mayor can initial it and they can do the same.
Okay. I do want to put just a little bit of a spotlight on this. This is a big move for the city, as council knows. And, you know, we put out an RFP more than a year ago and had offers brought back that we, quite frankly, didn't feel was going to be best for that corner. Did it again and got 2 quality projects back. We had a committee of city staff that scored and reviewed and made a recommendation for this project to go forward. We've seen the projected development there and what's being proposed is what's going to happen. We've put those safeguards in place.
Yes.
And certainly have no reason to believe otherwise, but this is a big step for our city. This old police station is, you know, kind of a welcoming, kind of a cornerstone of the city, and it was important to all of us to make sure that while we got rid of property that we didn't necessarily need, that there was going to be something productive and welcoming into the city. And so there's been an awful lot of time and effort. I know, council, we get to vote on this and have say over it, but there was an awful lot of staff work and diligence that has gone into this. I want to thank everybody on city staff that's played a part in getting us to this point. And if council decides to move forward, there'll be more work to be done. But I did want to take just a minute in the event that somebody just heard that we were just doing this. Yes. It didn't just happen today and we're just deciding to do it. This is actually a project and a goal of council that we've had on the table for probably 3 or 4 years now, and now we're able to take that first step to making something happen. So, with that being said, you heard Mr. Archer's directive. If anybody wants to make a motion, to make sure that you include that addition into the motion so that we can go forward with a vote. Or if there's other questions or discussion, we can certainly have that now.
I'll make a motion if you want. Make a motion to move forward with the purchase agreement, but also to amend Roman numeral 16, paragraph 2, to also include ground floor retail and professional offices to be reviewed by the attorney.
Section B, paragraph 2.
Section
or
B,
section, something like that. It was 16B2.
It's,
There you go, that one.
16B2.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
To include
Ground
professional.
floor retail and professional offices.
Okay. Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you,
Freddie.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Porter, you're up again.
Yes, Mayor. The Cartersville School System building a new school site at Carter Grove. They've asked us to provide fiber out there. We've provided them a quote for that. They've signed off on the agreement. We recommend approval of this agreement to provide fiber out there.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Wilson. Another big step being taken by the city tonight. Tell
All
everybody
right.
about it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, before you is, it is the next process in acquiring the quiet zone for the city. It is a preliminary engineering agreement with CSX for $60,600. We're seeking permission for the mayor to sign this agreement and other documents for payments to be made to him. This will be an item funded from the 2020 SPLOST.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this? Yes, sir.
I would like to say that that amount, the 60,000 plus, is an estimate, and the contract that's drafted provides that if they have cost overruns in doing the engineering work, that they'll send the city a bill, and the city's got to pay it within a certain amount of days, or they'll stop work.
Does that give us enough, would that period of time give us enough time to amend some of the accounts, or or were you recommending like a not to exceed amount as opposed to the contracted amount?
When you deal with CSX, if you do that, add a year to the work. I'd recommend you take it as written.
Okay,
I just want to point that out to you.
thank you. I'm sure they'll want to move along quickly after those kind words you had for them. Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the contract as written.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item for you, Wade, please. Sir.
All right, next item is a flail mower. It's a 96-inch flail mower. It's replacing a 20-plus-year-old unit that's beyond repair. Yeah, you see an example one right there. The quote was for $21,750. It's from Franklin Tractor in Cartersville, and they have indicated that they should be able to get this to us before June 30th.
Great. All right. Any questions on this item? If not, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I am going to step away from these next two items, and I will let Mayor Pro Tem Cooley handle those, please.
Item number 13, History Museum, roof replacement.
Yes, sir. So these are pictures from the History Museum. We were getting estimates for some work to be done on which is the next agenda item. While on the roof, found some cracks and problems with the roof system that's there. The company that was up there gave us a price to fix this while they were there. It is for $45,300. This would be with Caliber Construction LLC. This is, we think, may have been causing some issues with the structure through water leaks with the roof system. We recommend approval of this estimate.
This item and the next item were not budget items, but we have dealt with issues over the past several years. Public Works goes out there every time the History Museum director calls me, and we try to take care of that. But we do have funding available for this one and the next item, so I recommend these for your approval.
Questions or comments? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 14,
Yes, so while at the History Museum, this is the original problem we were investigating, or the company that was investigating. We had them look at this. This is a crown soffit and a fascia where all had extensive water damage, where water's drained through these through the years. There's actually holes in areas we've tried to patch and repair in places. There have been birds get into the museum through these holes, so this is significant. So what they've proposed to do is to remove all these components that I discussed there with a masonry type material, and then paint it to make it look exactly like what was there originally. They proposed to do this at a price of $41,500, and once again, they are this is Caliber Construction LLC. This is the same company that was low bidder on the roof for City Hall. And so we're recommending approval of this this estimate.
You heard the review. Are there any comments, questions? If not, can we get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Aye.
Get back to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley. Mr. Dixon, you're up next. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The gas systems, HVA system, suffered a failure of its number two compressor. After being diagnosed by the Yanmar factory technicians, it was determined that both compressors were damaged and required replacement. The compressors themselves were covered under warranty, however, the labor and material costs were not. J.C. Lane Company of Milton, Georgia was recommended by Yanmar to make the repairs at a cost of $8,150. This is a budgeted expense, and council's approval is recommended of the repair.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, motion is in order.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Chief Carter, while you're making your way up, council, we do have an item to add. I'll entertain a motion to add that item.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Item is added. Go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Good evening to you. I bring before you tonight a request to order 3 pieces of emergency equipment, but a little bit of background on this. Traditionally, the way that we purchase our fire trucks is through the lease pool program, as we would order a truck in July, receive it within that 12 months, pay for it in the lease pool, and currently this upcoming year, we're paying off on this fiscal year right now, Engine 4 and Squad 4 on their lease pool, so they're dropping off of our budget this year. Well, these trucks are our problem. We're due to replace the 2011 trucks that opened up Station 4 with, along with a special operations truck. It's a 2000 model International. But now our problem that we're reaching is that the build out time for these trucks is 24 months. And also the prices are increasing dramatically and quickly. We can only get a quote now on these trucks that will last us for 30 days. We do know that the next price increase that we're seeing is coming up in May the 1st. So we've gone to spec and we've built out these 3 trucks with the hope of ordering them now, with the purchase order of ordering them now, understanding that we're not going to receive these trucks until 2024. When we receive these trucks in 2024, we're going to be replacing not 10-year-old trucks, we're going to be replacing 2 13-year-old trucks and 1 24-year-old truck that's currently running. So we're just really trying to get ahead of the game as far as that's concerned. The current build time, as we said, is just under 2 years. These prices we have locked in right now currently through May the 1st. We do know for sure that there's another price increase coming in January, but they do anticipate one in the fall. We're requesting the approval for these 3 replacement trucks as listed in the memo that you have in your packet from 10-8 Fire and Safety Equipment. We've negotiated the pricing down. We've utilized multi-vehicle discounts. They are a single source provider because of standardization within their fleet and for maintenance. We have properly bidded these trucks through MPP Gov Consortium, which brings us to the price of a new Engine 4 fire truck at $663,312. A new heavy pumper, which is also the rescue truck, it's called the Puck, a Pierce Ultimate Configuration. It's $690,764. And then a new International chassis truck with a special operation rescue body for $415,312. Total cost of these 3 trucks that we would order would be $1,769,388. Just as a little bit of a comparison for you. Graciously, back in February of 2021, y'all ordered a new tower truck for the department. We were scheduled to receive this tower truck in April of this year. We got notified today, now that our construction time, we're looking at least June the 20th. We're anticipating now that this truck is going to roll probably into July and August. When we purchased that truck, for $1.3 million. That truck, if I was to order it today, is greater than $1.5 million. We are not electing at this time to prepay these trucks like we have done with several others, because we just do not feel that the discounts are significant enough for us taking our money out of our reserves to pay it back in 2 years. We feel it's just not a good wash. So respectfully requesting permission to order these 3 fire trucks. A purchase order is issued to 10-8 Fire and safety for the Pierce Fire Press we've talked about, with an understanding that they will be delivered in approximately 23 months.
Okay. Questions for the chief? Thank you. I know it's a tough ask for you, but again, it's needed. I mean, it's not an issue until we have trucks not able to make it to emergencies and people need it.
We're really,
we'd be making the purchases anyway. It's just the timing of it because of the lead time.
well, normally we would be coming to you to order Engine 4 and Squad 4 with the anticipation that we're going to get this year. But we're not going to see that. So I really don't know how we're going to handle the next couple of years. We've got a lot of different things going on, so we're just going to have to see how this works out.
Well, appreciate your foresight on that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments for Chief? If there are none, motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Let's handle that added item. Mr. Porter, tell everybody all about it.
Yes, Mayor, the Cartersville Little League has come to us regarding about the lights at Cross Street Fields, and we are looking at assisting them in that project. They've got a quote from West Georgia Lighting in the amount of $4,954. I'd like to enter into a contract for performing services with them to provide this assistance to get those lights fixed so they continue playing baseball at night there.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or discussion?
Just one, Mayor. As you can see, I'm right in the middle of Little League. And tonight, awesome game going on at 7:45. I'm sure you're heading straight up there at Cross Street. We played Tuesday. It's awesome. The city's done a lot. So huge thank you to Dan and the city staff. I know the public works isn't here, but really much appreciated and really good for this community.
Well, honestly, I'll try not to get emotional about it, but we have, it was a couple of years ago when Calvin brought the situation to heart that area of the community needed some attention. And, through Tom Gillum's leadership and through Dan, and through council's actions, we've been able to make improvements to Matthew Hill Park. In a couple of weeks, we're going to dedicate Mr. Hurd's gym. And in working with Little League and the Housing Authority, we've made some drastic improvements to Cross Field. And this is just the next step in that area that, recreation creates those social intersections where people can come together. And there's a lot of people in our community that haven't been up to Summerhill. And I know one of the big goals of the Summerhill Heritage Committee is to, again, spread the word and make people aware. So as we've got these social intersections where people coming together at a special place, they're perhaps learning a little bit more of the heritage of our community and of that area. And so appreciate Dan coming up with, and David coming up with a way to take another step in the further development of this area for everybody to enjoy. And I think I just applaud everybody that had a hand in it. So thank you for that. So.
And let me say that it's being used every day, 7 days a week. All facets of it, walking, playing, so at night, the baseball field and the attendance is overwhelming. So we're so thankful.
That's great. All right, enough of that, patting ourselves on the back. Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Reinhardt, top that.
You going to the game?
I don't know that I can, but I'll try.
My games are really good.
Honorable Mayor and Council, we will be looking at the financial report for February 2022 and comparing it to February 2021. The general fund revenues increased over last year by $1.2 million. Expenses increased by $2.1 million. Two areas of revenue I look at on a monthly basis. Local option sales tax increased there of about $736,000. Building permits and inspection fees have an increase there of about $284,000. Water and sewer fund revenues increased over last February by $3.2 million. Expenses decreased by $8.1 million. This is due to increased personnel expenses, decreased operating expenses, decreased debt service expenses, decreased capital expenses, and increased transfers to the general fund. In the gas fund, revenues increased over last February by $7.8 million. Expenses increased by $6.8 million. This is due to decreased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, increased cost of purchased gas, decreased debt service expenses, and decreased capital expenses. Electric fund revenues increased over last year by $1.4 million. Expenses increased by $2.4 million. This is due to increased personnel costs, increased operating expenses, increased cost of purchased electricity,
increased capital expenses, and increased transfers to the general fund. Stormwater fund, revenues increased over last February by $10,000. Excuse me. Expenses decreased by $238,000. This is due to decreased personnel expenses, decreased operating expenses, and decreased capital expenses. Solid waste fund, revenues increased over last February by $351,000. Expenses increased by $30,000. This is due to decreased personnel expenses and increased operating expenses. And finally, the fiber optics fund, revenues increased over last February by $99,000. Expenses increased by $236,000. This is due to increased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, and decreased capital expenses. Our cash position for the month of February, unrestricted cash increased. Restricted cash decreased a little bit. SPOS account balances are as follows. SPOS 2003 balance of $25,572.68. SPOS 2014 balance of $231,991.10. And SPOS 2020 $5,755,509.26.
Thank you very much. Anything to add?
Just a great job by Tom and his staff to continue to watch over this. General fund is doing very well at this point in time this year, and just recommend this for you guys' approval.
Yeah, I had to read that a couple times because the revenues year to year are over 1.2 million, and in the previous year we had the CARES Act money that came in, so that's
We haven't seen that in, well, I've been here doing this 13 years. I don't think I've ever seen that.
that's good news, and of course that's a product of a local strong economy, and of course of our every department making the most out of every taxpayer dollar. So we appreciate everybody's efforts in that regard. So, any other questions or comments for Tom?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other business that needs to come before council this evening?
I'll just make another plug for the Little League. If you like to listen to baseball or watch baseball, big event tomorrow night. Matt giving us his professionalism coming out and broadcasting the game, 8 o'clock. But the festivities start at 6, and I'm actually running the PA for the first time, so that could be a disaster. It could just be epically awesome. Either way, 6 o'clock, come out and watch. So we got the little guys playing from 6 to 8. The majors come in at 8. So should be a fun night in the park. So if you can't make it, listen in to WBHF, and should be a lot of fun and big for this community. So
no admission, food trucks.
No, yeah, they got food trucks.
Big
Just
party.
free. Just come, have a good time. That's it.
It's great. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There you go.
Great.